Good afternoon, students. Welcome to class. Today we'll continue our lesson on expanding the brackets from expressions and that of equations. So please, I want you to turn your book to page 52. That is the challenge book section, okay? There are examples there, but I have taken 2 out of the examples for this time so that we can see how we can handle some equations when it comes to expanding of brackets. So we have 2 examples here. For the first example, we have 4 outside the bracket, then into the bracket we have 5 plus 2x. And then at the back of the bracket we have plus 3. Then there's another bracket. Into the bracket we have x minus 4. The second example, we have only 1 bracket. We have 3 into the bracket. In the bracket we have 9 plus 3x minus 20, okay? So we're going to go through these 2 examples so that it can help you to do your first task on this particular section, okay? Okay, so first of all, we know that if there is a number at the back of the bracket without any other sign here, it means the relationship is multiplication. So we need to multiply 4 into what is inside this bracket. It doesn't affect this particular bracket, okay? So 5 will give us 20. So this will be equal to 20. Then 4 times this will give us 8. Okay, so now there's a plus sign here. So this bracket is actually open. We have to go to the other bracket, okay? So we put our plus sign here. 3 will give us 3x. So this is positive 3 going to multiply a negative number, so that will give us a negative sign. So we'll have negative 12 over here. Okay, so once we open our bracket, this is what we get. We get 20 plus 8x plus 3x minus 12. So the next thing that you have to do is you have to group your like terms, okay? So the variables that are of the same features, we have to group them. So when we are grouping, it becomes 20 minus 12 plus 8x plus 3x, okay? So the variables with letters are on one side, whilst the variables without the letters are also on other side, so that it becomes very easy for you to continue your equation. Okay, so our next, we're going to subtract 12 from 20. That will give us 8, and then we add 8 and that of 3, and that is going to give us 11x. Okay, so our equation will end here as we expand this very brackets. So this is an example with 2 brackets, okay? So please note that this 4 only deals with this bracket, and then this 3 only deals with the other bracket as well. So this is the final answer that we're going to get. We're going to get 8 plus 11x. And please follow the steps carefully so that you always remember how to deal with your expanding of bracket, okay? Okay, let's see our second equation. So in the second equation, we have only 1 bracket. However, at the back of the bracket, we also have another variable at the back of our bracket. So basically, this 3 is going inside the bracket to multiply whichever variables that we have inside. So our equation is going to be 3 times 9 is going to give us 27, plus 3 times 3 will give us 9x. So the bracket has opened now, so we have our minus 20. Okay, so if you look at this expression, you realize that 7 and 20 are numbers without letters attached to them. So that means we cannot end here. We still have to group our like terms. So grouping our like terms, we have 27 minus the negative sign here goes with the 20, okay? So we have our 20 and then plus our 9x. So we bring this 20 close to the 27, and then 9 goes a bit further from them so that we can continue. So we take 20 out of 27, and that will give us, and then we have 9x. So this becomes our final answer when we are expanding this very bracket as well. Okay, so I want you to also understand that if you have a minus sign in front of a number, the minus sign is going with that particular number. So you cannot change this minus sign to attach to any of the numbers over there. And then when you finish expanding your bracket, you should always look through your expressions or your equations to see if there are common variables. If there are common variables, you have to group the like terms so that where you have to do addition, you do addition, and where you have to do subtraction, you can also do your subtraction and arrive at the final figure that you need to expect. Okay, so since this is a build-up a lesson on our previous class, I believe that this will seal your understanding on this particular topic of expressions and equations. You have your first activity that will be taken from page 52 of the scale of the challenge book. Okay, so you are basically going to deal with your challenge book. You open to page 52. You are doing exercise 9.2, expanding the brackets. Please, you are supposed to answer all questions over there. Okay, so on this note, I would like to pause here on this video, and then I'll join you on our second video. Okay. Students, I'd like to welcome you back to our lesson on expression and equation. This is our second video. On this second video, we'll be looking at a different aspect of expressions and equations. So we'll be looking at how we can deal with constructing and solving equations. So on these examples that we have on this section, it looks a bit different from the first one in the sense that this one, you are supposed to create your own equation and then you solve your own equation. Okay, but you have a guide that you have to pick your equation from. Okay, so we have a straight line, and then the angle here is marked x, and then the angle here is marked as x plus 60 degrees. Okay, that means we are looking for the size of the angle here and the size of the angle here. On our second example, we have a triangle, and that triangle is having x as one of the angles inside and 75 as the other angle, whilst we have 2x over here. So we're going to start from our first example, how we can find x. So the idea or the whole question is we are finding x so that we know the value of the angles that has been marked with x. Okay. Okay, so whilst this is on the straight line, the first thing that you have to think about is the total angle on a straight line. So what is the total angle on a straight line? Okay, so those of you who are saying 180, that is correct. So total angle on a straight line is equal to 180. So you can say that total, normally we use this as an angle on a straight line. Okay, so on a straight line will be equal to 180 degrees. Okay, so once we know that the total angle on a straight line is equal to 180 degrees, that means when we add x and the value here, it should be equal to 180. So we can say, therefore, x plus this x plus the 60 degrees should be equal to 180 degrees. Okay, so this is the kind of equation that finally you're going to make. out of your straight line, finding the x on the straight line. So now once you have this equation, then you can continue to find your x. So x plus x is going to give us 2x plus 60 equal to 180 degrees, okay? So this is 2x, this is 60, this is 180. So 60 and 180 are numbers without letters attached to them. However, this is 2x because we want to make x the subject. So we have to transfer our positive 60 to the other side of the equation sign, okay? So we're going to have 2x, which is equal to 180 minus 60 degrees. Okay, so this is a positive figure here. So when it crosses the equal sign, it becomes negative. So it becomes minus 60. So that is going to give us 2x equal 120 degrees. We divide here by 2 so that x will stand alone. We divide here by 2 also so that we will get 60 here. So finally our x is going to be equal to 60 degrees, okay? So now we know that x is equal to 60 degrees. So let's prove if indeed x will be equal to 60 degrees. So when you put 60 here plus 60 here plus this 60 is going to give you a total of 180. That means your angle on a straight line is correct and your value for x is also correct, okay? Okay, now let's move to our second example. In the case of the second example, it has a similar feature with the straight line in the sense that the total angle of a triangle is also equal to 180 degrees. So if it is also equal to 180 degrees, we can build our equation as x plus 75 plus 2x, okay? So now this x is going to add up to this one. We have 3x plus 75. Now this equation should be equal to 180. So 3x will be equal to 180 minus 75. And this will continue to 3x. So this will give us 105. We minus here, we divide by 3. We divide by 3. This will cancel this one. And then this will cancel this one. And we're going to have x to stand alone as 35. Okay, so in all, it means that when you put your 35 over here plus here and then 35 multiplied by 2, it's going to give you a total of 180 degrees. So this is how you can use to prove your answers to be correct, because whenever you are dealing with any figure, you have to know the total angle of that particular figure that you are dealing with. Then you find your x that is making the x the subject, okay? So I want you to do your task 2, which relates to this example, so that we will see how well you have understood this very lesson, okay? So please do task 2. That is constructing of and solving equations. You'll find it at page 53 and that of 54. You're supposed to answer all questions. You'll find it at the challenge book, okay? So I'll see you in our final video to finish class on this lesson. Hello students, welcome to our final video. Our lesson has been on expressions and equations. The first section we dealt with expanding brackets, and on the second video we also dealt with constructing and solving equations. I am quite sure that you have enjoyed these two sections, and this last section too, you are enjoying it. I would like to take you through constructing and solving of equations one more time so that you can actually get it once and for all, and then we can close class on this section. On the first example, we dealt with an equation from a straight line, and the second one was an equation that we made out of a triangle. So what I want you to note is that whenever you have a shape or you have any drawing that you are dealing with, the first thing that you have to know is the total angle size of the object that you are dealing with. So if you are dealing with a square, you have to know the total angle within a square. If you are dealing with a rectangle, you also have to know the total angle within a rectangle. If it is a trapezium, whichever figure that you are dealing with, please, the first thing is to know the total angles that you have there. Secondly, if you look at your variables either on a straight line or any of the figures that you'll be dealing with, you should know that the angle here is coming to add up to the angle here to get you the total, okay? So it doesn't multiply, it adds up, so it is plus. When you see situations like this, that means 2 is multiplying whatever figure that will be in there. So it means that you get to a point that you have to do division, because if you want to make your x the subject and x is attached to 3 or is attached to a particular number, it means that you have to do a division. You have to divide that portion or that part with the number that it comes with. So here it came with 3, so we have to divide 3. Whatever you do on the left hand side of the equation, you have to do the same thing on the other side of the equation. So you divide here by 3 and you also divide here by 3 as well, okay? So whereby you meet a situation whereby it is division, assuming this is 2 divided x, that means we have to multiply, okay, to make x the subject, okay? Then one other thing that I also like you to know is that when you have equation and you are doing cross equation, that means you are transferring a number from the left hand side of the equation to the other side of the equation. When the number is positive and it is crossing, it changes to become negative, and then when the number is also negative and it's crossing the equal sign, it becomes positive. So it is vice versa, just like division. If it is division and it is crossing the equal sign, it becomes multiplication, and if it is multiplication and it is crossing the equal sign, it becomes division, okay? So note that the opposite of positive is negative, and then the opposite or the inverse of multiplication is division. It's a very key information that you have to keep it. It will help you in your lessons all the time, okay? So I'd like to thank you for joining class today, and we'll pass this homework to you. You are to open at page 55 at the challenge book and do your homework and submit for checking. I will see you again next week. Goodbye.